Okay, 10 a.m. on the dot, Central Standard Time, of course. Hello, everybody. Welcome today. We're so glad you could join us for What's New in Mobility DNA. Always a hot topic with yours truly, Darren Campbell. I'm just going to go through a few housekeeping rules for today and just kind of give you kind of a broad overview of what's happening. You know, if you aren't already part of our community, we invite you to join us. Please join us. It's always free. You can go to our developer portal, which is developer.zebra.com. Every month we have DevTalks. Every month we have a DevBuzz newsletter that goes out. You can register for that DevBuzz newsletter on the developer portal. The DevTalks happen once a month as well. You can register for those DevTalks there, and then we always have links on our developer portal. If you're a partner, they're in the partner portal, and also we promote that socially on our channels. We encourage you to join us every month. Next month, we'll have Katir Mobility joining us, and then go ahead, Darren, it's okay. We'll also have our full event of a DevTalks Community Day on May 19th. So last year in October, we did this. We had about 8 DevTalks in a row. People could hop on when they wanted to engage in the subject that was relevant to them. We're going to do the same and have that community day on May 19th. Of course, we would love for you to join us the entire day, but whatever time you can give us and whatever time you need to engage with our experts, we encourage you to do so. So watch for information coming for that soon. We hope to have that up shortly on our developer portal. As always today, what we'll do, if there's any questions, and there's always great questions, we're going to hold those until the end. So just go ahead and put them in our questions chat box there, and Darren will address those towards the end. If there's anything that we miss, or if something comes up later on and you'd like to ask the question, you are always welcome to email us at developer@zebra.com, and I'll make sure Darren gets that. And as always, we are recording this webinar, so we will have this up on our YouTube channel and available soon. Always with GoToWebinar, and the way that it acts is that they record the webinar and you'll have it up there right away as soon as we're able to render that. So you can view it there quickly if you want to just see a couple of different points, and then know that later on it's going to be on that YouTube channel for you to see. And I think with that, I've covered everything. So Darren, I turn it over. Oh, one more thing. Very good. We have another slide that I slipped in. I forgot about that. Oh, this is good. This is important. Everybody, we're gearing up. We're fingers crossed. We're going to be in person in Madrid, Spain, in the first part of November for our annual Zebra DevCon, or biannual, I should say. We're going back to our roots, and this is a developer-based event. We encourage everybody to attend who's in the technical and developer world, and we'll have more information on that forthcoming in the next few months, and registration will open up probably around September for that. So look for that. Fingers crossed we'll all be in a better world and be able to see each other in person, and how nice would that actually be. So we hope that you can join us there. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Darren. I think we have a lot of things happening this year for Zebra developers. So
thanks, Stacey. You can hear me, can't you, Stacey?
Yeah, everything's good.
Yeah, okay, I'm using a new microphone, so I'm a little bit paranoid that something's going to go wrong, but hopefully it'll be good. I'm going to talk about what's new in Mobility DNA. And I think Mobility DNA means different things to different people, judging on the amount of emails I got to say, what is it that you're actually going to be talking about? Are you going to cover this, that, or the other? Mobility DNA is an umbrella term which Zebra give, more of a marketing term really, because it covers so much. It essentially is everything that we have outside of the core device and core Android to really provide you enterprise value on top of the hardware and the core Android operating system. So that might be something running on the device, it might be an application, it might be a service, an API, it might be something above the device, so a cloud solution or a downloadable application that you install and then get value from that way. So an umbrella term which leads to hopefully a fairly rapid fire presentation. I got a little bit carried away, I'll be honest with you. just trying to create like little demos and slides saying, what should I talk about? And I ended up with this. I don't think I'm going to get through this whole agenda today, certainly not unless I rush, and I don't want to do that. So I tried to front load maybe the more interesting bits, and like we have got that developer community day coming up, so anything I don't get to, then we'll address what else is new in Mobility DNA during the community day. And also hopefully by that point there'll be more what's new stuff, and so we can go over that. So the agenda's here. I won't go through it point by point, but we'll be covering new APIs, new applications, features of those apps, as well as some of the stuff on the actual device for administrators as well. So it's a dev talk, but we're going to try and cover as much ground as we can. My right arrow isn't working to advance. There we go. Hopefully that's working. So if, like me, you want to see for yourself what's new in Mobility DNA, and you don't have to want to wait until the next one of these presentations, if you go to techdocs.zebra.com and then click in the little top left box, it will have a Mobility DNA like text on it. I forget what it looks like actually. It is in the top left. Click on it and you'll be taken to this page that I'm showing on the slide right now. And this is actually taken about a month ago when I first started putting these slides together. Since then, more stuff that's new has happened. So if you want to just get a brief overview of what we're adding to our tools, this website's a great place to go. The people that maintain it will often do little videos. Let me see if I can do like a laser one. Here we go. There'll be like a little video. That's more of a marketing blurb, but I've put some links to those as well as I go through, as well as a description where it's added. Like it might be new in DataWedge 8.2. It might be new in Stage Now. So we'll cover some of this. So first thing I want to cover is a new feature that's been added to Device Central. So Device Central was an application which I wrote the very first version of it. Actually, it's one of my claims, and it used to be present on all of our devices out of the box. It's now post-loaded. You can get it from the support portal, support.zebra.com, through there under software. And it's designed as a central hub through which you can manage your Bluetooth peripherals. So we're Zebra, so we're talking Bluetooth printers, Bluetooth scanners. It also gives you information about the device itself. Now, the use case we have here is, what if in the course of your work you forget the peripheral somewhere, like you leave the scanner on a shelf and then you walk away, and like the idea behind Smart Leash or Smart Lead is to notify the user that you have gone out of range of the Bluetooth peripheral. So it works on the connection. Like if you lose the connection, make some noise about it. So there's audio feedback, vibrate the device. There's haptic feedback as well in there. Our team that actually developed this did a really funny video. They actually like went around someone's house, I think, and they pretended they're a delivery guy, all part of the sprint review. But I couldn't find it, annoyingly, so you'll just have to I had to make my own demo. So this is a TC52 connected to an RS6000 ring scanner. It's just what I happen to have in the house. Obviously, we're all working remotely, so I was working with the hardware I had. It does support a number of Bluetooth peripherals. What I did, I just left the ring scanner upstairs and I like walked down the road a little bit until I was out of range, and then you'll see just what happens exactly on the device when I did that. So this is like a screen recording from the device itself. It has a RS6000 connected. Everything's working well until I go out of range, and at that point the device will make there you go. So it's become disconnected. You might be able to hear that in the background. It's sort of vibrating at me. It's making a noise, customizable length of that haptic feedback. I get a notification, big red danger, something's gone wrong. I need to rectify the situation. So I've come back in range. You can like manually reconnect these scanners, but they'll just automatically reconnect as well, as long as you're not out of range for too long. Here we go, reconnected. I get the toast, and I think I even pulled down just to show you that red danger like notification has gone away. So that is, in a nutshell, the Smart Lead functionality. So it kind of does what it says on the tin. All of these little videos, I've put the YouTube link here. If you're going through the PDF slides of this, which Stacey will make available, then all the links are there for you to browse. They're set to like private viewing. The next thing is going to be a live demo, hopefully. So this is a new feature in Stage Now. Now, we have a program called Lifeguard, which I'm sure most, if not all of you, will be familiar with. This is Zebra's feature where we provide security and feature updates to all of our devices on a monthly basis, or as close to monthly as we're able to make it. Importantly, like, there's the security updates in there. So you ideally, we recommend you're on the latest Lifeguard patch. And I'm not actually part of the Lifeguard team, so I can say this without tooting my own horn. I think the team do a really great job in getting those patches delivered as frequently as they do, and on some of the really quite old devices in terms of Android are still fully supported in terms of security patches. So it's great. Those updates are available, but we found one of the problems that our customers have is discovering them. Like, we've put them on the Lifeguard portal. Not everyone goes to the Lifeguard portal very often. I don't go there very often. I work for Zebra. So we're trying a number of things to really raise the visibility of those updates. And if you're like using an EMM, you might have seen that certain EMMs have started to incorporate Lifeguard updates, as firmware over the air feature. I've seen that rolling out over the past little while, actually. But the other change that we've made is to Stage Now. So if you're offline, maybe you're not using an EMM, or you just want another way to discover these updates, you could use Stage Now, and it has like a little Lifeguard update browser. So let me just go to my copy of Stage Now. And if you click this little button up here, Browse for Lifeguard Updates. This is version 5.0. It's the latest version of Stage Now. It's a little bit slow for me, I don't know why. For some reason, my email address that I have at Zebra wasn't authorized for Lifeguard updates. If you're part of our support programs, then yours will be, as I understand it, but they've had to give me this test email, so please don't email this. It's not going to go anywhere. The way you use the update browser, you can sort of enter some attributes about your device. You can say it's a GMS device, it's running Android 10. I've got a couple of devices here I was going to demonstrate. So let's say I'm looking for updates for this TC52 here. It's a TC52. Well, let's pretend it's a TC57. I do have a TC57 here somewhere. TC57, and show me the results. It says it's found 3 matching Lifeguard updates found. And so this is this 3 here, and the workflow is, well, you can like view the release notes of any of these as well if you want. So if you want to understand more about what's in this particular release, supported devices, most of these updates are common across a range of our devices. So that's why there's so many supported device models. It gives you a GMS, like outside of China, these are always going to be GMS, and the Android version. We go back and support as far back as Android Oreo with this feature, and the workflow is that you click on this plus button here, and it will download everything you need to install this Lifeguard update. Hopefully this is big enough that you can read, but this Lifeguard update is update 26 here. This is update 0, so this is the base version. So by downloading, clicking this check, it's going to download the full update as well as the Delta package that's going to get me whatever state my device was in. It's going to put it into a known state. Like, if you want something more complicated, as in look at the state of my devices and figure out what I need to do to get the device into an updated state, then that's where the logic is more done on the EMM side, where it has the knowledge of what's running on devices. But here you get visibility, it shows you what's available. So I've downloaded that profile, and that gives me an entry in this Lifeguard profile screen. Both these screens are new, incidentally, and it automatically creates the profile for me. And if I've just clicked into there, this is what you typically see at the end of a Stage Now deployment. So here it's downloading the zip files needed for the update, and then it's applying the zip files. I can actually then go through the complete profile, and I can generate a testing barcode, which will load up. It's having a bit of a think. Obviously, this is sort of happens when you try and do a live demo. But yeah, you know Stage Now, you hit test, and you end up with a barcode. Okay, that will work. It's just taking its sweet time. Let's go back to the presentation. So I think the next slide was just saying this was the live demo I was going to do. And then I just wanted to show very quickly, there you go, thank you very much, it's finally loaded the barcode there. Very quickly, I just want to show what it looks like on a device which is updating. So the TC52 that I had in my hand previously, it's the same device you see in the video there. Actually, let me start the video so I can comment over it. It's currently running the baseline update. You see it's 10.00 there, so it is Android version 10. I scan the StageNow barcode, and that's going to retrieve the zip files. It has to be on the same subnet as your StageNow client, but as long as that's the case, then it downloads those from StageNow and puts them in, like, I think it's the root of the SD card of the device, or the external storage, I should say. And then after download, don't make the same mistake I did. The device goes through an update phase. So although StageNow will report that, hey, yes, I've updated successfully, the device itself is still going through this update. And then Android just performs the same logic as it usually does with a system update. I have sped this video up. If you were to try and do this logic yourself, you would need to like host the zip files on a server somewhere. You would need to create a StageNow barcode to like download those files to your device using the file manager. I'm going to test myself now. And then you would have to use the, I think it's the power manager to invoke like the OS update on those packages. So there's nothing new here in terms of installing updates. And you see here that the update process is now finished, and I have update 26 on my device, U26. There's nothing new here in terms of making the update. The newness is more around like the discoverability and like just having more knowledge that those updates exist. So hopefully this is just one way that we're making that available to our developers or administrators, anyone that wants to update their devices, even users. Next feature. So we'll go away from StageNow. It's gone through a couple of name changes. I think I saw different names used in the documentation. So it's now called the alert button. Originally it was the panic button, but I think they moved away from that terminology because we didn't want to associate panicking with our devices. But I think the kind of use case here was someone like needs to perform an action discreetly, and like the use case that I think the team were talking about was maybe someone like needs to call for help urgently because they're in a situation where they have a device. In this particular example, it's WAN capable at TC57. In fact, let me get my TC57 here. And so you want to discreetly be able to call a phone number, like it's a 555 number in this example. But the idea is, like this is the 57. It used to have this rear, like what's it called? This is actually the scanner. So the idea of this whole back button was you put your gun cradle here, and then you can tap the button, and it sort of invokes this scanner button. But you could reuse that potentially if your device has that to perform a discrete action. It doesn't have to be that back button. You could use any hardware button as the alert button. Let me just show how we get to the process. What you end up with, what you want is, in fact, if I just hold it up to the camera, hopefully it'll show. So I press the back button and see the screens come on. I can press and hold that, and now it should be dialing.
Not included in your
I don't know where the microphone is, but see, it is actually made that call just by me pressing that one button. Sorry, there are T's in the word. So let me just show you how you build a profile in order to do that. The documentation team actually put a YouTube video out about this. It's not one of the standard marketing videos. It was the documentation guy in front of the webcam, I think, actually showing this. But I'll do the short version, as it were. You want to, and this is a feature we'll come back to in later slides, you want to specify whichever button you're talking about as a wake-up source. Now, like in my phone, for example, if I press the power button, obviously it's going to wake up. If I press the volume button, I've got like goodness, WhatsApp. So if I press the volume button, it's not turning the screen on because the volume button is not what they call a wake-up source. On our devices, you can specify any button as a wake-up source. It's not a new feature, it's been in there for a while, but you do need to make sure that the alert button is a wake-up source so that the device will come to life. And then there's a couple of steps. You need to, first of all, assign a key behavior to your desired button with keycode none, which seems a little bit, why am I assigning it a keycode with keycode none? But then the reason is so that you can actually assign an intent to the key code. So this is a new feature added in MX 10.1 or 10.2. It allows you to specify an intent, in which, in this case, it's the call intent with this particular MIME type data type URI that will be invoked when the rear button is pressed and held. And so as long as you've defined these 3 different things in your Stage Now profile, then you end up with a barcode like this. 10.2 it must be, that's why I did it in 10.2, and your device will behave the same as this device here. All I did was scan that barcode. So that's the alert button. If you are scanning that barcode, make sure you scan it on a WAN capable device. First of all, I scanned it on my TC52X, and then it didn't work, and I thought, oh, I'll install Skype on it. And I mean, that did work, but Skype doesn't handle the intent action as well as the default dialer, from what I could tell. And so but it's more flexible. You don't have to call a number. You can do any intent. It's just the example was to call a number. Anyway, enough waffling. Let me talk about another new feature. So this is an API. Those who have been around a little while in programming for our Bluetooth scanners will have been aware of the need to control the LEDs and the beeper and the haptic functionality of the Bluetooth scanners. Now, we're only talking about the Bluetooth scanners. We're not talking about the device itself. So this new notification API is not designed to control the LEDs of Android itself. There are separate APIs as part of the standard Android SDK, which give you the capability to vibrate the device and to control the LEDs in sort of common with notifications. You have to use those. But to do the LEDs of the Bluetooth scanners, so there's 3 supported scanners: 6000, 5100, and 3678. We're working on improving and increasing that list. This API replaces the old EMDK notification API. So again, if you're familiar, if you've been programming with Zebra for a while, you'll know that we are recommending developers target Data Wedge as their API of choice for scanning and move away from the EMDK. This is for a whole multitude of reasons, not least of which is the more flexibility and reliability in applications. The idea here is we're now introducing an API into Data Wedge which replaces the notification API that was previously in the EMDK. So we'd now be recommending you use this new intent-based functionality. I like it a bit better. It's a lot easier to use. I've created the sample. It is an unofficial sample, which means it doesn't come with warranty guarantees. I've been on lots of email threads where we've had like the support organizations. Anyway, that's internal politics, but there is an unofficial sample out there for you to use this new API and give it a go. It works. It's shown on the screen. I'll show it in the next video actually. So now we're at a stage where pretty much if you're going to use the EMDK, it's only in the profile manager aspect that you would use the EMDK for, to process a profile, to make use of those MX features. So that was still fully supported in EMDK, but for the other scanning and notification, we have alternatives through Data Wedge. So this is my sample app running on, again, the TC52. Other devices are available, just not in my cupboard, and the RS6000, which obviously that's the only. Well, anyway, so I wrote this in Kotlin, but it's agnostic, it's intent-based, so you could use Xamarin, you could use Java, you could use Cordova as well. Like I've got the all sorts of different talks about Cordova and Capacitor that I've done in the past in sample apps. The API works by allowing you to stack up to 5 different notifications. So a notification, there's like an enumeration of 43 different things, or notifications, I guess they would be. I just didn't want to use the word too many times. And 4 of those are LED related. There's like a red light on, red light off, green light on, green light off. The rest of them are patterns of beeps. So it might be a long, short, it won't be a long, short beep. It might be a long, low beep. It might be a short, high beep. It might be a warbly beep. There's all sorts of different things. And you can specify 5 different parameters, and it will, in series, execute those beeps. So beep, 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 beep. If you could program it like that if you wanted to. What you can't do though is to flash the LED. You can't say red on, red off, red on, red off in these parameters. If you want to flash the LED, you need to time that yourself and invoke the API multiple times. So I'll just show you the video of this running. I'll just move my mouse out of the way here to the best of my ability. So here or hopefully you might not have heard that, but the green light came on, it did a little beep. I can say green light off and do one low beep, and then there's all sorts of, I don't know if you heard that either, but I won't try and turn my volume up because I'm sure there'll be some kind of feedback if I try it. I think this one I go for broke and I decide to put beeps in all of the parameters. Yes, I do. See all the different things you can choose from there. I just realized I was listening to the microphone to try and make it come through better. Obviously that wasn't going to work, but hopefully that came through in the video. And but if not, then the YouTube links there, have a go with it yourself. The sample app, literally just download it onto a device that has data wedge 8.2, I think it is. If you need to update your data wedge, update your BSP. There's a really good way to find updated BSPs through Stage Now. So it works better if I don't try and be funny. Okay, new feature again in data wedge 8.1. Very similar to what I was saying before, where like the volume button is not a wake up source on consumer phones, whereas in our device you can specify all sorts of different wake up sources. Here, like we've had in for a while, you press the scanner trigger and it wakes the device up. Well, that wasn't a very good demo, is it? So you press the scanner trigger and it woke the device up. Now, previously, if you wanted to scan something from a sleeping state, you'd need to wake the device up by pressing the power button and then press the power button again. Wake the device up by pressing the scanner button, press the scanner button again to scan a barcode. That obviously you're pressing the button twice, you're wasting time. Wouldn't it be good? I'm being a bit facetious, but you can imagine the number of scans that people do, the number of people that are using our devices, and the number of organizations, how many devices they have. If you can increase the workflow of your users, then that's good. So this new feature is wake up and scan, allows you to, in a single button, single trigger press, wake the device up and also scan a barcode at the same time. You need to have that trigger configured as a wake up source, and you can do that either on the right there. There's like a UI on the device under settings somewhere. Please don't ask me to try and find it. Just search for it under the device settings, standard settings screen, or you can control this through the Power Manager MX through Stage Now or through your EMM via OEM config to specify any button as a wake up button. The devices, they have to use kind of, I don't want to say ambiguous labeling, but some devices have got 3 triggers, like this has got 3. The TC52X has only got 2 triggers, so there's not always going to be a rear trigger. So some of the naming here gets a little bit generic, but refer to the documentation. They've got like screenshots to show you what those different buttons mean on different devices. And it wouldn't be a demo here without a video. So this is just me very quickly showing without the setting, like how it used to work, and then with the setting, so which will wake the device up and do some scanning. So screen's off, I'm pressing the power button and it's not doing any scanning, excuse me. And then once I enable this, obviously you can enable it through the data wedge API, but here I'm just using the data wedge demo as well as the data wedge profile mechanism to modify the demo's settings. Now screen's off and I'm able to scan, single trigger press. Apologies for the state of my digits there. And there we go, scan 3 barcodes very quickly, efficiently. So these things make more sense when you sort of show a video. Like I was actually on a conference call when I was recording that, so it's multitasking. Yeah, I don't know why I said that. Okay, next feature. So as an extension of the ability to like, we're adding more capability into our scanner trigger, essentially, look at it that way. In data wedge 8.2, you have the capability to really configure what each of the triggers do on the device. And like it's quite esoteric use cases, if that's like a right word to use there, but they're very specific use cases we had from particular customers here. It's more like you want to use the left trigger to do one type of scanning, like with the imager, the 2D imager out the front here, but you might want to use the other scanner on the right-hand side, for example, to use the camera. Maybe because of different lighting conditions, the scanners work in different ways, or maybe you want to control the Bluetooth scanner with the right trigger and the internal scanner with the left trigger. We've had, you know, these were very specific customer requirements, but the feature is now there. You can assign different triggers to do different things. Don't confuse this, like I did when I was first having this feature described to me, with like we have a capability where if the Bluetooth scanner becomes disconnected, then it will, the application on the Android device will revert to, this is a really bad way to explain it. If I press the trigger and I have a on here and the Bluetooth scanner is connected, then the Bluetooth scanner is actually going to emit the scanner beam. If the Bluetooth scanner becomes disconnected, I want this trigger to emit through here, through the 2D imager, and that works. That's called like scanner auto selection. Here, that it's different. It's saying that you're able to, even with the scanner in range, control what this trigger, this internal trigger can do. I apologize for the brightness on this video. I didn't realize until quite recently that the brightness was very low, and so I did try and make it brighter in post-production, but then it become all jittery because I don't have a graphics card. And yeah, so unfortunately, I will describe what's happening. I might pause it at some points here if I can. Oh, how do I pause the video? Oh no, I need to. There you go. Learn that about. Not describing what's happening at all here, am I? So what we just saw was I was using the left trigger button. You didn't see that very well at all. And I was scanning with the Bluetooth scanner here. And then that's the default behavior. That's what you expect. I just described that just now. If I go in and configure the scanner triggers here, I can say, well, there's a Bluetooth imager, and then I'm also going to add the RS6000 imager in my different scanners, which I can use in my application. I'm going to configure this so that the right trigger no longer initiates the 2D imager on the front, but rather it's going to configure the RS6000 scanner. If I press the trigger on the RS6000, that's also going to invoke the scanner on the RS6000. And now notice the behavior is different. I'm pressing the left-hand trigger and the scanner is coming out the front of the device. And then if I was to press the right-hand trigger, I'm pressing the trigger here, the scanner beam is coming out of the RS6000 over here. Now, that's a really bad screenshot, isn't it? The DataWish demo application has been updated to specify the source of the barcode if there is a potential ambiguity. This is not part of the actual barcode string, so don't worry, we haven't changed the data that's coming through. There's another field that gives you the ability to disambiguate which scanner actually initiated the data that's come through to you. And again, all these videos are available on YouTube. So having said that, there is a number of features which have been added to the next generation SimulScan document capture. And if you're, again, familiar with Zebra, then you'll know that we used to have a feature called SimulScan. It was very useful to a very few number of people, very small number of people. And so we said, well, let's take the best bits of SimulScan and let's really productize this well. And we decided we're going to relaunch SimulScan as next generation SimulScan, and we are rolling out the features that were in SimulScan. We're doing them properly in next generation SimulScan, and over the next coming releases we'll become parity, and then we will advance beyond what was previously capable with SimulScan. So there's 3 new features being added to next generation SimulScan moving forward. One thing which wasn't entirely clear when I was looking previously, but I think it is a lot clearer now because there's been a couple of videos added to the support portal. To use next generation SimulScan document capture, which is distinct from multi-barcode scanning, so document capture is if you have a document, let's imagine this box is a document, and like you have a barcode on it, but there's also an image area you want to capture. Maybe there's a signature down here. Maybe there's like a tick box or something over here that you want to capture. And so you've defined like the template of this document and said the barcode's here, the signature's here, the image is here. You would do that through a document template. And the document templates, we are working still on the ability to create your own custom templates. I understand from the lead on the project that the document template creation portal is undergoing our system test. So it should be released fairly soon. I don't have any dates, unfortunately. But at the moment, if you want to make use of the next generation SimulScan document capture feature, then you need to have got your your templates through our support organization, and that information is on the support portal, but it just took me a little while to find it when I was looking. But having said all that, new features added to next generation Simulscan. You can now capture the full document. We'll continue pretending this is a document. So it does edge detection automatically for you and crops out anything that's not part of your document. And yeah, you get it actually returned in your application through a content provider, I think it is. And there's a sample to show how you do a signature capture with a content provider. So capturing an image. Signature presence detection. So again, your document here, I think wherever the signature was, say the signature was there, what you do in the template is you define a box. So this is the area where the signature will be, and the signature presence detection is just a flag which will be true if it detects some kind of mark in that image. So it's not like doing any kind of handwriting recognition. It's just saying there is a mark in this field, therefore the customer has signed. And the other feature that's coming soon to next generation Simulscan is something that a lot of people asked me for at the end of my last dev talk on what's new in Data Wedge, which I think was at the tail end of last year. The ability to imagine you have this is going to be a different document now, and it has lots of barcodes on it, and you want to capture all of those. You can just capture them today with multi-barcode, but you can't like I can't say I only want to capture. I'm looking at it here. I only want to capture the barcode whose length is between 3 and 6, or I only want to capture barcodes which are code 128 and whose length is over 7. You know, to make up some examples. So we are working on the ability to define the criteria or pattern of barcodes that are captured as part of that multi-barcode capture. But I think that's going to be part of next generation Simulscan document capture rather than the multi-barcode capture. I'm not sure. Features coming early 2021. You could argue we're in early 2021, but sorry. It's coming soon, and it's the last I heard. So again, apologies, don't have dates, but that feature is coming. There's a teaser video, and like I said, these teaser videos include probably about 10-second clip of the actual sprint demo of the feature that our engineers give to product management, and the docs team kind of crib the most interesting parts of that and make it into a more consumable minute-long marketing video. So that's what these teaser videos are. So a couple of slides without demos now. So MX, let me just tell you what MX is. If you're not familiar, MX stands for Mobility Extensions, and it is, I said Mobility DNA was the whole umbrella term. So Mobility Extensions are the capabilities which Zebra have created on top of the standard Android operating system. And there's a whole history here. Like back in the Jelly Bean, Lollipop days, Android wasn't really enterprise ready. And so there was a lot in MX, like security and enhancements for like Wi-Fi and all sorts of stuff to make it enterprise ready. Over the years, Android is now a lot more Android enterprise, the whole term Android enterprise recommended. You know, we're in that program. We've come a long way in the last 5 years, and but there are still enhancements being made to MX, which is a long way of saying that. So in MX 10.1, so the number here kind of corresponds with the Android version. Read it as when we're working on putting Android 10 on our devices, we are at the same time also working on Android MX 10.1 enhancements. Now, obviously, we've got Android 10 on our devices, and you're able to upgrade and devices that were running Oreo to Android 10. You're probably going to be able to update the MX version. It comes with the version of Android, the BSP, as we call it, the operating system update. But what are these enhancements? I hear you asking, or you may have already read the slide and you know what the enhancements are. There's a token mechanism in Data Wedge. This, like the use case here is applications on devices at the moment have full reign of what they can do with Data Wedge. And one of those APIs is to restore Data Wedge to its default settings. Now, ideally, you wouldn't have an application on your device that invokes that willy-nilly, but what if you don't want to take the risk? Well, now there's a token mechanism whereby you can restrict which applications can call which Data Wedge API. So it just gives you a lot more control as an admin. ability to control auto rotation, enterprise keyboard language selection. File upload is to do with like you've got operating systems you're downloading, you're streaming those downloads, make sure the download streaming more efficient. File upload is separate. I was misleading when I said it was related to OS streaming. Battery saver control, some people would want to turn that off because when the device gets to a low battery state, it would typically enter battery saver mode. That's the automatic behavior. You don't want it to do that because then anything running in the background is essentially killed, like your Firebase cloud messages can't be received, I think. But yeah, your enterprise app may lose functionality. So maybe you want to have battery saver turned off and just have the user charge the device or swap out the battery, which you can do with our devices. RFID support. A couple of, I don't know why these three countries in particular. We're all over the globe with those three. We're Caribbean to Eastern Europe, but yeah, there we go, and Africa. So battery percentage and worry-free Wi-Fi enhancements. MX 10.2 enhancements. This is where the bulk of the changes like recently have been made. It's the latest version of MX which you can download today. There's a beacon manager, so we're adding the offline tracking capability to device tracker. So we have a separate SKU of our batteries, so you can purchase a battery with a Bluetooth low energy beacon within it, and that way you can find your devices even when they're turned off using device tracker. And the what am I trying to say? You can control that beacon using MX 10.2. Bluetooth pairing manager, so you can choose to have silent pairing, so you don't have to have that confirmation dialog pop up when you try and pair devices of a particular class, or I think it's done by class ID. Yeah. Smart leash, we covered that in the previous slide. Adaptive brightness, turn it on or off. Sending an intent when a key is pressed. So the example we covered was to send an intent when the rear button was pressed on this device, if you remember that. But you could send any intent when any device, when any button is pressed. Some real custom use cases could come in there. Like, so rather than have to rely on Zebra to implement some custom functionality, you could just write an application that responded to a start service, for example, and then when the user presses the button, you do something in your service. Keep the device awake. I think that's more like a partial wake lock. Feature-based licensing. See the documentation for more information on feature-based licensing. That's for the professional level of devices, your TC2Xs or EC30, I think, as well. 802.11k support, 802.11mc. There are, if you go on the support portal, there's a whole document about what we've done on the PS20 for 802.11mc. It's quite interesting, but it doesn't really talk about what the technology is. I'm going to give a bit of a plug. I'm giving a talk on indoor locationing in general, and more specifically this FTM technology at a DroidCon webinar on the 15th of April, I think, which is like afternoon European time, morning US time. So I'll be looking at that, and I'll be sort of describing how Zebra have partnered with some AP manufacturers to provide a superior 802.11mc indoor locationing experience. So I think it's free to attend. Please go along to that, droidcon.com. But it's more in general, although Zebra have added a lot of a fair few features around there. Anyway, end of plug. 10.3 is in the pipeline. It's coming. There's a few teaser promo videos available. The most interesting and exciting thing in 10.3 for most of our users, I think, is going to be the ability to prevent applications from automatically upgrading, or, well, it would normally be upgrading. You have your application, you have your device in a configuration where you don't want it to change, and you're using the Play Store, and the Play Store obviously is going to want to push applications to your device. You want to take most of those updates. They might be security updates. I had in my Google, whatever it is, things you're interested in. So there's all sorts of security updates in Chrome. Update Chrome. That's good. You might want to update Chrome, but you don't want to update your EMM or some other kind of app from the Play Store. This feature will allow you to specify which applications you do not want to upgrade through the Play Store, because you want to keep those on a known version. Touch mode control panel as well. That's the ability to like press and hold the power. Let's just show you. Press and hold the power button. You get that power menu down here, and you can choose. Yeah, it's now in glove mode, so the screen becomes a lot more sensitive or it's in finger mode, so the screen is less sensitive, but I can use it with my fingers, just not with my gloves. So just easily switch between those modes. Where are we for time? So we've got a little bit of time left. I'll carry on. I'll probably stop in 5 minutes or so because I know there's quite a lot of information here. I did want to cover cloud-based device tracker. So I spoke about this a little bit. So device tracker we've had in our sales. Well, we've been selling it for a while as a hosted solution, and we're now selling it as a cloud-based solution, which may well appeal to a much wider variety of customers. There's no URL you can go to like try out device tracker. So I'll save you the effort there because I looked for a long time and I couldn't find it, and I found out why in the end. What happens is you engage with Zebra, whoever you engage with Zebra with normally, and they will get provisioned for you a instance of device tracker. So that will hold all of your device information, your users. It has the ability to track devices. And what would happen is you enroll the device into device tracker. And I think I've got it on this device here. You end up with a application on the device called device tracker. I'm stalling for time here. It looks kind of like that. You're able to like log in and log out as well by scanning a barcode. This is like a demo device. Maybe I shouldn't be showing some of these serial numbers, but once it's being tracked, you're able to, as an administrator console, assign a device to find another device. So let's say there was this device, I don't know where it is, like it was last used by this person and it was seen in the back office area. It was connected to their Wi-Fi, but I don't know where in the back office area. It's huge. There's all sorts of shelves. So by assigning this finder device to find this other one, it tells me, right, I'm looking for the back office area, and I'm able to play a sound on this other device, and I'm being told through Bluetooth. So same sort of technology is used by all of these COVID tracker applications, where it uses Bluetooth to detect proximity. We're using exactly the same technology there to detect proximity with a device. No one technology is perfect, but with a combination of technologies. So we've got that Bluetooth, how far away you are, you're able to invoke a sound to be played, and then finally, once you find the device, you can hit device found. You know which AP it was last connected to. I mentioned Ble Beacons. So if you have a SKU of our batteries that has Ble Beacon support, when this device discharges completely and the device itself turns off, the beacon will be automatically enabled in the battery, so that you're then able to find it again through this Bluetooth mechanism. It's confusing. That's not the actual. I took this screenshot from the feature teaser video before I was assigned access to the actual device tracker solution. But yeah, excuse the fact of the low quality here. So yeah, you're able to find devices. So contact us if you want to learn more information about devices. Essentially, it's an enterprise version of Google Find My Device. That was the point I was trying to make. Finally, I think I will stop there, Stacey. I did have a couple of bits. I was going to talk about the enhancements to Enterprise Browser and the Enterprise Application Configurator, but I'll stop there because we've been going quite a while now, and I'll save that for the DevTalk community day. So I'll go over for questions now, if I can, please.
I think that'll be good. Yeah, we have quite a few questions here. Just bear with me, because the first one is about 3 parts from Matt. So I'm gonna just go through each one. Okay. The first one is, can you export the Lifeguard profiles to XML for distribution through MDM?
If you're using MDM, I would have thought that your EMM should have like an ability to like, I would have thought your EMM would have an ability to use, like, we call it firmware over the air. So it might be more powerful within your actual EMM, depending on which EML. I'm not sure off the top of my head which EMM support which. It looks like you can. Like, this was the demo. I've never tried it. At the risk of exposing my my computer here, so if I try and export that to late, let me just go over here just in case, and then where are we? What did I just export? TC52 to latest. and then I'll load this up, and then I'll close everything but this. It looks as though it's exported successfully, but I mean, it's exported it, but it occurs to me that it's actually downloading it from a web server within Stage Now. So I think the technical answer is yes, but in practice, you wouldn't be able to use it because it's using an internal web server.
Okay. And it says, well, if so, where are the LG updates actually being pulled from that in that situation? And do they get pulled by the device from the Stage Now server or from a central public Zebra hosted repository?
Yeah, okay, so there's two stages. There's let me just try and go back to that's the whole config. If I go back to home, so do you remember, like, I was browsing for Lifeguards and then I hit that plus and it would download it. What it would do, it would download my needed files. I think the image files here. You see, this update contains 3 image files. I'm sorry, it's small. I can't zoom in. Those have been downloaded from the same location as is used by an EMM if it's using our photo integration, we call it firmware over the air integration. There's a central repository. There's actually an API, and I'm pretty sure that the Zebra Data Services also exposes that same API, but I don't know if that's public or not. That might only be available to EMM. But the short answer is it's all downloaded from the same source, but after downloading in the context of Stage Now, it's hosted in a separate FTP server on my system here.
Okay, and then in regards to, in regards to OS updates, is there an ability to create conditional statements to determine which OS update to download and install based on the current device OEM build? And
sorry.
Okay. Use cases to target a specific Android version, BSPLG. The device would then upgrade or downgrade based on target or versus current state. This would be either with the updates hosted in SN or an external server. It's a loaded question, but.
So I think I can give you an answer. No is the short answer. We are aware that that would be a really great feature to have. We are working on a feature that would enable that capability, but I can't share any more than that at this time. It's being worked on. The other part of that is, and I'm showing my sort of inexperience with the EMM process, but I thought that an EMM, like, at least with some of them, you can specify that here are my devices, update them to a specific version, and they would use the logic of, they know which version of Android you're on, they know which baseline that is, they know what Lifeguard patches you need, therefore they can download that from our APIs and send those to the device through their own mechanisms. So I'm talking very generic terms there. The technology exists for an EMM to do that. I'm not sure practically if they have, but the technology is not there yet to do that through Stage Now, but that's what we're working on. So I think I addressed all parts of that question, Stacey.
Okay, yeah, I think so. It's another long one, so bear with me. In the case where a user wakes the device and scans with a single button press, how do you guarantee that that scan is delivered to an app? And if the app has correctly unregistered their scan receiver in the on pause event, it won't be listening for the intent before the screen is unlocked, correct?
Yeah, so you kind of drill into the detail a little bit there.
I know.
I hope that's not someone internally that asked that question. That feels like a little bit loaded. I thought that myself. I thought, how is it doing this? Because when, like, the question is, when you turn the screen off, typically the application considers itself in the background, and you, like, if you're using Data Edge, that application no longer has focus, so the profile goes back to the previous logic. What I would say is, I did write a blog post about, like, capturing barcodes in the background. It's sort of using explicit broadcasts, and just have a little test, see which profile is in the active state. Certainly it worked for me with the DW demo, but yeah, test it for yourself. Maybe you need to associate your profile with the launcher profile, or whichever your default profile is when the device when the power button is pressed, and then make sure that your application is receiving that either through an explicit broadcast intent, which they added recently. You can specify the component, or through a service will also be received in the background as well, as long as you're not doing too much work. Yeah, so I had that same question, and I showed the simplistic thing in my video, but yeah, hopefully that gives a little bit more insight.
Yeah. The EKB language selection, they're missing Portuguese. Right?
They're missing, sorry?
Portuguese?
Portuguese. Ah, okay. I'll take that feedback back to the team. I don't know if you realised, but when I said EKB, I skipped over that largely because, let me just make a note, Portuguese. I'll try and get you an answer, because I did have some questions from one of our sales engineers on EKB language. So I think they are still working on the feature. They put like MX 10.2, they probably added features and there's more to come, but yeah, I've made a note. I'll follow up on that.
Okay, and then this is good because it could be a follow-up. Can you briefly describe what feature-based licensing is, or provide a link to the documentation?
Well, I won't say no. Let me try and find a link to the documentation. So okay. I would go on Tech Docs, and then under, if I can't find it quickly, then honestly I won't make everyone wait.
We can add it to the blog where we posted the this dev talk. We can also add that link down there, Darren.
Yeah, I will. I thought it might be here, but it's not. So yeah, okay. we'll find that out.
We'll look into that for you. Another question: if you upgrade to a TC 8300 to Android 10 today, what version of MX would be loaded?
The way to find that out is to let's go back. Let's leave my so Lifeguard updates, browse for Lifeguard updates, and then I mean there's more than one way to find this out, but this shows so Android 10 on a TC 8300, wasn't it?
TC, yeah, 3800, yeah.
So yeah, actually it looks like it's the same 3 Lifeguard updates that have been found. So if I were to update here, you go to the release notes, and in fact, luckily this is already the release note that was loaded previously. Then if you search those for MX, it will come up. MX is mobility extensions, something framework 10.2.0.34. So that's the answer.
Okay. Another long question. With device tracker, can you set a device to lost and then have all of the other devices sense for them in the background while they are used for other purposes, or does the device tracker need to be in the foreground on the device used for finding?
The device tracker is designed to work with, I'm looking at the other screen. All right, why don't I do this? There we go. Device tracker is designed to work in the latter one, where you would have someone actively finding the device with device tracker being in the foreground. There's not this feature of like every device should search for the missing device, and whichever device is closest gets the notification to, hey, you're closest, you should go search for it. That logic's not there. It's literally just, hey, go look for this device. We last saw it connected to this AP. You might want to start there, and this is how close you are currently to it.
Okay. Does the Stage Now Lifeguard download apply mechanism clean up the download files so that if you use it many times, you won't run out of storage on the device?
I don't know off the top of my head. I'd need to follow up on that, sorry.
That's okay, we've got these questions so we can add comments if we need it later. I'm not sure if this is a question or observation. Upgrading, downgrading restriction on MX 10.3. It will block only from Play Store or even App Manager install.
It will. So if you think of it was a question, the App Manager, you have control of that, because like you actually have to install the specific application. So the thought was, if people just wouldn't do it if they didn't want to install the applications. So it will. I think it will only block from Play Store. I haven't actually seen that feature yet because I haven't had a version of MX 10.3 to test with. I haven't tried to get a pre-release version. I do intend on playing with the feature and then doing a separate blog post about it. So again, leave that one with me and I'll make sure I test that when I'm having a play with the feature. I couldn't get it before this talk, unfortunately.
Okay. And then for the last one to wrap it up today, because we're at 10:59, will Device Central be available on Play Store in the coming future?
Yes, it will be, but I don't have any dates, I'm afraid, and I don't know why it's not there at the moment, and I don't want to sound critical of anyone. I'm surprised it's not there. I'm told it will be posted. That's
Yeah.
I can say.
Okay. Well, I think that wraps it up for today. Again, if there's any questions that come up, you all can email us at developer@zebra.com. You can always post to the blog where we promoted this specific DevTalk on our developer portal, and we can answer it there. And then Darren will add his slide presentation there. And then I think we've prepped everyone so much today, and there's so many questions that we will probably have some type of follow-up and extension of this presentation in our DevTalks Community Day in May. It sounds like we'll be doing that, Darren, right?
Yeah, that would be good because we got some good questions. So that's good because it means I'll have some new content to add when I do this presentation again.
This is really great. So we really appreciate everyone's feedback. This is really helpful to us as well. And I appreciate everybody coming today and look forward to seeing you on the next DevTalk. Take care, everyone. Be well.
Bye.
Bye.